Picture it: sweeping glaciers and endless tundras stretching as far as the eye can see. The air bites at your lungs, and survival depends on the smallest choices: finding food, staying warm, avoiding predators. This was the Ice Age, a time when two distinct human species, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, shared the stage. Their worlds overlapped, but they were not the same. Both species walked upright, used tools, and could build shelters, yet their differences defined how they fought to survive in an unforgiving environment. Neanderthals had been on this stage for much longer. They were built to withstand the cold. Shorter limbs, stocky frames, and larger noses helped them conserve heat and breathe more easily in icy air. Their bones speak of immense strength, with thick attachments for muscles more powerful than most modern humans could imagine. They thrived in a world where frost and danger were constants. But this strength came at a cost. Their bodies demanded a huge calorie intake, far more than Homo sapiens needed, and this would become a critical fault line as resources grew thin. Now imagine the Homo sapiens of this era. Their bodies were slimmer, their builds more efficient for long-distance travel. They could adapt faster, covering new territories in search of food and shelter. This wasn't just about physical endurance. Behind those smaller skulls hid something that set them apart: an unmatched knack for adaptability. They used symbols, shared ideas over greater distances, and developed innovations that changed the rules of survival. Instead of surviving like Neanderthals, who seemed to specialize intensely in mastering their specific environments, Homo sapiens thrived by transforming environments to suit their needs. But coexistence wasn't peaceful. With both groups chasing the same prey and shelter, the question of competition looms large. What happened when these two species met? Archaeological evidence leaves tantalizing clues. Take, for example, the shared caves in southern Europe. In some places, you can almost imagine the small fires set years apart of first one group, then another. The charred bones and tools they left behind tell a story. Neanderthals and Homo sapiens occupied some of the very same spaces, but rarely, if ever, at the same time. It's as though they circled each other, understanding just enough to stay apart, yet never entirely able to avoid one another. And signs of direct conflict? They're there too.
Nalo.
Skeletal remains from this period sometimes show trauma, injuries that hint at violent encounters. That raises the question: when resources ran low, were battles inevitable, or could they coexist without bloodshed? The evidence suggests it was both. While their tools sometimes reflect similar levels of craftsmanship, Neanderthals made complex stone points known as Mousterian tools. It was how they used tools that differed. Neanderthals relied on a brute strength approach, favouring close-range hunting with heavy thrusting spears. Homo sapiens, on the other hand, excelled at innovation. They created lighter projectile weapons, enabling them to strike from greater distances, giving them a safety buffer that may have tipped the balance in their favour during tense situations or even outright confrontations. Interestingly, Neanderthals weren't the brutish, primitive beings they were once assumed to be. Modern discoveries are rewriting the story. Evidence shows they worked with fire to produce glues to fix spearheads, suggesting an understanding of chemistry. They may have carved symbols into caves, leaving traces of a culture we're still trying to understand. And then there's the art. Hands traced on cavern walls, pigments carefully prepared to create a visual legacy. These were intelligent beings capable of problem-solving and perhaps abstract thought. Yet their world seemed rigid, each survival technique passed down with little variation over thousands of years. Now contrast that with the younger Homo sapiens arriving in the same territories. Not only did they bring a wider variety of tools and techniques, they also appeared to share information in ways Neanderthals did not. Archaeological sites show signs of complex social networks, beaded jewellery, shells transported long distances through trade, and a stronger emphasis on symbolic culture, like carving small figurines or painting elaborate scenes. Homo sapiens were connected, not just within their groups, but across distances. It wasn't the strength of their arms, but the strength of their ideas that set them apart. This difference between rigidity and adaptability may be at the heart of why one species vanished while the other flourished. Imagine two neighbouring clans in the Ice Age, one stubbornly sticking to the same techniques that worked in the past, while the other experimented, taking risks with new tools or new ways to hunt. Over many generations, the effects of these choices ripple outward, shaping their destinies. Neanderthals excelled in routine survival, and for hundreds of thousands of years it worked. But the world began to change, and they couldn't keep up. Ice sheets retreated, landscapes shifted, and the prey they relied on grew scarce. That doesn't mean Homo sapiens coasted through this time period either. They faced the same dangers, the same bitter cold winters, the same nagging hunger. But unlike Neanderthals, Homo sapiens had ways to turn setbacks into opportunities. If one hunting method failed, they adapted. If competition flared, they pushed into new territories or found new solutions. And when they met Neanderthals, often they didn't fight. Instead, it seems they sometimes interbred. DNA evidence suggests that modern humans carry fragments of Neanderthal genes, a testament to how these two groups intersected, however briefly. But this fragile coexistence, marked by moments of trade, conflict, or silent avoidance, couldn't last forever. Over tens of thousands of years, Homo sapiens proved not just more resilient but more flexible, able to respond to a changing world in ways Neanderthals couldn't, or wouldn't. The balance tipped, and one species began to edge toward dominance.
We see the whole hunt, not just the beast.
That's the difference. They try to outmuscle.
We outthink.
Yet for all their adaptability, Homo sapiens must have taken notice as the signs of Neanderthal decline became hard to ignore. So what tipped the scales entirely? What turned an uneasy shared world into one completely dominated by Homo sapiens? As we'll see, the answer wasn't immediate or simple. Survival came down to subtle advantages, life or death decisions made in caves and on windswept plains. And in the end, Homo sapiens weren't just witnesses to the Neanderthals' final days, they may have played an unexpected role in ensuring their own survival.